Welcome to Vampire Radio!
Hola, hola, hola. You are listening or watching Vampire Radio here on the Vampire Radio Network. Of course, I am your hostess with the mostest, Shelly from Shelly. And of course, we got the podcast dog. Moocher. She's upset. I interrupted her nap. I'm sorry, Minnie, but hello, we had to give you the little shout out. So, anyways, I hope everyone's having a good week so far. Today is Friday. I know I haven't checked in with you guys for a while, but hello, my life is crazy, as you know. If you don't know, now you know. And if you don't know when you want to know, dude, just join my secret society because I'm on there pretty frequently, especially in the chat lounge over there on Patreon. No offense to my main site, ShellySecretSociety.com. I just don't have that capability over there. I can only DM. So I'm pretty much on a daily basis, if not like at least during the week, I am over there in that chat lounge just telling all the people the tea, what I'm up to, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, and whatnot. So if that's what you're something that interests you, then go check it out. If not, that's okay too. You're here. Thank you for tuning in. It means so much to me. So here's the thing. Since it's been, first of all, it is freezing in here today. I have the heater on. I still got my robe on because I don't know if it's coming off because it is cold in here, but it's a good robe. Fits me well. It looks beautiful. So I'll take it. Even though it clashes with Minnie's blanket here, that's okay. You can never have too much leopard, right? So anyways, I was just like, okay, what am I going to do for this week's episode? Am I going to dive into a wake and bake? Am I going to dive into a Martinez Girls Radio? What am I going to do? And my day to day has just been so off, which really pisses me off because I woke up on time. It's just been a struggle. But something that I heard recently was something to the effect of the reason why you don't have energy to do anything is because you're not moving. Once you get moving, even if you don't feel you have the energy, if you're doing said task, obviously you had enough energy to do that task. And I know that can kind of sound kind of, but if you think about the simplicity of all that, it's true. So today I just been going through the motions, but getting things done. It's Friday. I want to not have to worry about anything this weekend, especially because I got a couple of things coming up. So I really want to just reset my mind, body, and soul, one of those good old resets. And this weekend's a good weekend to do one of those resets. So it's fine that I'm lagging a little bit. I'm still getting things done, but it does stress me out a little bit when it's getting later into the day. And I'm like, dude, like I was sitting here trying to get motivated to go. And I was like, Lulu, just do it. Like, who cares if you don't have motivation? Just do it. You have the energy to do. I'm just sitting here chatting with all you fine people. So just do it. So that's what I'm doing today. Just do it. So I have a bunch of topics that just kind of usually when I'm doing cardio, that's when this happens. I have thoughts or ideas for a video, whether it's for like my secret society or YouTube or a clip for like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. So I have them on my phone. So I thought, when I was thinking about what the hell am I going to do today's episode on? I thought, why not just go in my phone and I'm going to go down the line. I have so many, this list. Well, you can't see it. This list is real long. So I feel like we'll just start from the top, see where we go, and see what happens. So let's get right into it, shall we? Okay, so the first one I have here, it says, and I'm just going to read you guys exactly how I write it because sometimes it's makes sense, but sometimes unless you're only me, it does not make sense. So we'll see. Okay, did Holly feel the energy from girlfriends past in the room? Did she cleanse it? Okay. That was actually this morning. So that one's kind of fresh. Who's Holly? Who am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Holly Madison. So, for those of you who don't know who Holly Madison is, she is somebody from reality fame from the Girls Next Door show, which was about Hugh Hefner and his girlfriends. It was Holly, Bridget, and Kendra. And of course, through the Playboy world, she's done a ton of pictorials, but not just that. Here's my connection to Holly. Back in the Disney, brother, sister, there was a group of us gals here in town trying to do our thing. We all had different things we wanted to do. One wanted to be a famous tattoo artist. One wanted to be a famous burlesque performer. One wanted to just be like the hostess with the mostest. And then one wanted the dream. And then one wanted to be a professional wrestler. So, of course, duh, I was the professional wrestler. The one that wanted the dream was Holly, aka she wanted to be in the Playboy world. She wanted to marry Hugh Hefner and be a part of that world. She did dive into doing her own, working in the studios and doing pictorials, not for herself, but for the actual magazine. And it's all on the show. So that's why I say the dream. That was her dream. And then the burlesque gal was Dita Von Teese. And the tattoo girl was Kat Von D. And the hostess with the mostest gal was Bridget, who was also on the Girls Next Door. Now, Bridget and Holly, and it was so cool because back in the day, we would shoot with the same people. So I would hear stories about these girls, not bad, just like, oh, yeah, I shot with Holly and it was really cool. And, or I shot with Bridget and, shot with Kat, I shot with Dita. So it was like, dude, girls these days couldn't even handle how we had to hustle back in the day, especially not only hustle for the gig, but to actually get your photos back from the gig. It was a rough time, but hey, it taught us how to hustle. And that's why I feel all of us gals ended up achieving what we wanted to. Even though Holly didn't marry Hugh Hefner, she still gained so much out of the situation. So I feel like because it was her terms that she didn't want to be with him anymore, it still worked out for her even better. So Holly and Bridget have a podcast. It's called The Girls Next Level. Now, the way it transpired was Holly Madison on her YouTube channel years ago was doing rewatches of The Girls Next Door. And I thought it was really cool because at that time, that's when I was living in Kentucky and I was signed with WWE. And for me, watching The Girls Next Door, it really made me feel more at home, I guess, because here I was, the LA girl, I guess you would say, over there in Louisville, Kentucky. I stuck out like a sore thumb. The whole vibe was different. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. But that like homesick feeling, watching The Girls Next Door really just gave me that like I miss California, here's my fix kind of vibe. So when the Girls Next Door show was doing really well, that's when, like I said, I was watching it over there. And they're, I don't want to say characters, but it was characters. Like they evolved. And while they were evolving, I was evolving in my career. So it was just like these two parallels. I thought it was really cool because of that back in the day, we all were hustling together vibes, right? So I thought it was really interesting to watch Holly's videos when she was doing the reviews of each episode because she would get into like what was really going on, this, that, and the other. And to my surprise, I could not believe how much I could relate to a lot of what she had gone through, whether it be mainly through my wrestling career and like the little things I went through, but also with my acting and modeling career. So I thought it was so interesting that here was this show that when things behind the scenes were happening that I could relate to, they were happening to me at that same timeline. So it just like tripped me out. Then some time had gone by and she, I guess, decided to do the podcast of the rewatching with Bridget. And it's really cool because when they started it out with not the girls next door era yet. And they talked about when they were this part of the 7 girlfriends that Hugh Hefner had back in the day. So when they get into all of that, when they first started their podcast, it was really interesting and they gave a really good description of what it was like to be at the Playboy Mansion at that time. It's like you could just almost see it visually when they're talking. It's such good storytelling. And I really related again a lot to specifically some experiences I had in wrestling when they would talk about all these different things and the things that they went through or the types of personalities they had to deal with, this, that, and the other. And so it became like therapy to me, especially because some of the things that they talk about is not the type or are not the type of things that people who aren't in the entertainment world, especially if you're like a talent, and you understand production too, you don't get it. And it's not your fault. It's just like it's one of those things when you're in entertainment and then you succeed and you make a mark for yourself in your own kind of way. You just learn a lot. For me, being able to relate to these ladies and them telling their stories, it made me feel in certain situations like I wasn't crazy and I wasn't alone. And like I'm not the only person that really like has gone through that kind of thing. So it's really interesting to me because it hit home so hard for me. So, anyways, fast forward. I've been listening to their podcast now for a while. And when I was on the treadmill today, they were talking about an episode that they did where they're all in Hugh Hefner's room and they're all on the bed. And it's one of those specials where I can't remember exactly where in the Girls Next Door. I think it was season 3, somewhere in season 3. I think that's where they're on right now. They did one of those specials, they wrap it up like, oh, these are all the highlights throughout the year and the different episodes and you get their reactions. It's one of those kinds of specials, right? And so she was talking about different things and something hit me. I was just like, you know what? Even though at that time, Holly has confirmed, and so did Bridget, it was just Hugh Hefner and her in the like physical relationship, right? So it wasn't the orgy stuff going on anymore or whatever. So here's my question to Holly Madison. Holly, did you ever feel the energy from all the activity that's happened in there in that room while you were in your relationship when it was just you and Hef? I'm really interested in that because that's just like so much energy and not just energy from when it was Holly and Bridget's era and Kendra's era at the Playboy Mansion, but for years and years and years, like since the Playboy Mansion's been there, like crazy stuff's been going on in that room. And energy is everything, dude. No matter what you believe in, energy is everything. So there had to have been some energy left behind. I just can't, and I never really thought of it that way before. And if she did feel the energy, did she ever cleanse the room? And if so, was she successful? Or did it make it worse? Or did it not change anything? I am so effing curious. So that's my little my thoughts today on the treadmill. Holly Madison, I need to know. All right, now let's see what the next one is. Crowd warmer. Oh my gosh. Okay. This, I remember when I wrote this down on my phone. It wasn't that long ago. I was watching Seinfeld. Yes, I always watch the same stuff. If you're like, oh, you're always watching King of the Hill or The Simpsons or Seinfeld. Yeah. When I'm trying to relax, I like to go to my go-tos, and usually it's stuff that makes me laugh, which is usually sitcoms. Okay. Get over it. So, anyways, I was watching Seinfeld, and it was the episode where Jerry had his pilot, and they showed the part where it's like the live audience, and then there's a crowd warmer, and he's explaining to him, this is a pilot. That's what you're a part of today. Da da da. Well, when I moved back to California, and I was so freaking broke, especially after I quit TNA, I had to hustle hard. And a lot of times what I did to make ends meet was I was a paid audience member. So I'd be a paid audience member to go to different tapings of things, usually like game shows and things like that. But not always. I did Dr. Phil a time or two. You bet your sweet ass. And for me, it was cool because with the stuff I had done professionally up until that point, a lot of people would look at it as, why are you being a paid audience member? Like, you've done all these mainstream things, especially being in WWE and in TNA. Like, why? And it's like, because I have to. I need to make money. I need to like live, right? So the way I get through it is I've always been obsessed with production. And so I would just always watch the production people and this and that and the other. And when I started to be around more and more different crowd warmers, I wanted to be a crowd warmer. I was like, I can do that. That seems like a good job. Like, you just got to be on for a few hours through the day. There's these different shows, so it's kind of like sitting at home watching TV. And one of the things I tried to do to get my way in, I guess, was I wanted to work at the casting agencies that booked people to be a paid audience member. So I was trying to get in with them. I don't know why. They just wouldn't let me in. I kept wanting, because all they would do for the most part, and I mean, unless you're like one of the people in charge, what they would do is they would have girls usually be at the table, and then they would sign people in, sign them out, pay them out. Like, it wasn't hard work, right? The like beginner stuff. So I thought, like, why not? And because I had worked with this one agency for so long, I thought I was a shoo-in, but I wasn't, dude. I wasn't. And I wanted to work my way up and start with the casting agency, be just the girl that checks people in or pays people. I don't care. Just give me the bottom of the barrel. I wanted to work my way up and make a new career out of myself of being a freaking crowd warmer. And what is a crowd warmer? Okay, at these shows where they have a live audience, before the show starts and then during the show in between, they have somebody that kind of pumps the audience up. A lot of times those types of people are comedians, or they do some sort of like stand up or things like that sometimes. That's the vibe, right? So you just got to entertain the audience and keep their energy up. There's little games that they play sometimes. And here was always the thing. You'd be at these shoots and they'd be hours and hours long, right? And you always looked forward to when you saw the crowd warmer go grab a bag of candy. Because the time they bring out that candy and they start giving it out to people, you need that sugar rush at that time because you're just so exhausted. It's like especially if you're in a sound stage, it's like, oh my gosh, every second I'm here, I am just getting my soul sucked out of me. That's how it felt. So I wanted to be that person. I envisioned it. I envisioned being up there, okay, guys, let's go, and playing the little games and the music. And oh, it's candy time. And like the whole, I wanted to be a crowd warmer. And I know I would have did a damn good job. All right, let's see what we have next. I got a little worked up on that one. Okay. I think it's shady. You can't clear the AI chat on Snapchat. What the hell is that about? What the hell is that about? Do you guys use Snapchat? If you do, follow me, Shelly Callie 4. Or is it just Shelly Callie? I always forget because I had another Snapchat and then they took it away from me and I had to start a new one. Let me confirm that. Yeah, Shelly Callie 4. So if you don't have Snapchat, in the DM area, it's a DM, you know, so there's like a little picture of whoever's DM'd you or who you've DM'd. And then you don't see what they say. It just says like open. And so you click it, you'll open it up, you can see what they say. So what you can do if you don't want a bunch of old conversations on your thing, you can clear it. So you can clear it off and then whatever. But the one effing person that you cannot clear the conversation with is the AI chat. I have tried over and over. If you guys have done it, you figured it out, let me know, please, because I have tried over and over. I've even talked with it, the robot. I talked with that damn robot, and I was like, I don't want you. And they're like, oh, you know, well, you cannot. Let's see right now. Hold on. Let me do it right here, right now on freaking Vampire Radio. Okay, I'm gonna tell the AI chat. Okay, I'm gonna put clear from convo. Let's see what it says. Hey, what's up? How's your day going? Clear from convo. Clear from convo? Do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to talk about? See, it won't let you. And when I hold on to it, chat notification, clear feed. Are you sure you want to clear it? It worked. You guys. I can't tell you how many times I've tried that. That trips me. All right. Well, there you have it right here on freaking Vampire Radio. All right. Let's go to the next one. I'm glad we had this conversation. You guys, do you use TikTok? If you do, follow me, Shelly from Cali _. Again, I had an account. They took it away. So on TikTok in particular, I kept seeing these different creators popping up all the time talking about soursop bitters and black seed oil. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Look, I love me a good cleanse. Give me poop tea all day long. Like, I am all about it. Like, as long as I can plan my day accordingly and I'm not going anywhere, I'm so about, like, every once in a while you should cleanse your gut out, you know? Even if it's just mildly, like maybe if just like one day you took like a poop tea or a poop pill and then you went about your business. So like I'm not saying everyone has to do like the full like 7 or 15 or 30-day cleanses or whatever. Everyone's different. But I think it's good to just get the junk out as much as you can, right? So for all these people on TikTok to be talking about how the soursop bitters really gets you going, it just really flushes you out. That sounds really attractive to me, right? But this is where I'm like raising a quizzical eyebrow. Why the F is soursop bitters only available online on Amazon and on TikTok? Why? And then if you go to like the main, there's like Serene Herbs. That's one. They do have a website, whatever, but it's still just online. Like, why can't I go to a health store, like a GNC or a Vitamin World or something like that? Like, why isn't it at least in a place like that? I'm not saying it has to be at like Target or Walmart, but why is it only available online? That makes me kind of not trust. And look, I used to be such a freaking Amazon truster person. That's not even a word, but I'm making it up as we go. I trust Amazon for way too long. They got me. They got me good. And now I'm just like, man, counterfeits, this, that, and the other, damaged goods. I don't know. So I can't trust Amazon. I don't know about TikTok because here's the other thing. Let's put my little tinfoil hat on. I really question things that get blown up. Even stuff that legit works, like GLP-1s, for example, Ozempic and all the Wegovy, all those things. What makes me not trust it is how it's being pushed everywhere. Whereas at first it was super expensive and only if you had a really bad medical condition, so where insurance is helping you out, or you have a lot of money to pay for it. That used to be the way, but now all of a sudden it just keeps getting more and more available. Go ahead, people, do your thing. God bless. I hope you stay healthy and well out there. But I do not trust that. And that's how I feel about the sour salt bitters. I can't tell you how many times I've been online trying to look it up. And then when I look up like Reddits and stuff like that, they're so wishy-washy because there's so many people who claim it's really good. And then there's so many people that claim like they got something that tastes completely different from the ones before. Some made them sick. Well, some people are like, oh, it tastes like poison. Like, what is going on? Look, I just want something to clean my shit out and good. Get it out. I had these one poop pills I used to take. I only bought one bottle. Worked really, really well, but it started to make me feel really sick. And then that's when I realized that the capsules were made out of bovine. I only eat salmon, fish, things like that. I don't eat land animals. So I don't know if that's what it was, but all of a sudden I started to feel really sick. So I threw the bottle away, but they worked really good. And what I tried to do, I was like, well, maybe if I just take the powder out and put it in some like vegetarian caps, but they've already been in it. It worked really good. And I remember back in the day at GNC, I got something and it worked really too well. So if you guys have any suggestions of something that you can go to the actual effing store and get, please let me know. Tell me in the comments below, please. All right. And up next, does Sophie like Josh? Where are my 90-day fiance people at? Especially my last resort fans out there. Now, long story short as I can make it, Sophie and Josh are on 90 Day Fiance The Last Resort. They're not a couple, but in the show, there's friction between Josh's girlfriend, Natalie, and Sophie because Natalie's super jealous of Sophie. And it came out in the show that Josh was trying to hit up Sophie before they went to the last resort. So it's all messy. Nice and messy for everyone out there. And at first, because now they've done 14 episodes, and I've watched them all. And at first I was like, I really, really like Sophie. Josh is just a douchebag. I totally know the type. And I was more so on Sophie's side, but the more the show has progressed, I'm like, dude, I kind of think she likes Josh and she liked the attention. And I'm wondering if they ever hooked up. And word on the internet street is supposedly they did, which then raises another question to me is the dude she was on the show with that she was married to, I believe they decided to split. Word on the street. And he's all like BFF with Josh now, and they're like doing collabs online and things of that nature. So I don't know, but then guys are weird like that. They can be like all bros with somebody that like, oh, I slept with your chick or whatever. So who effing knows? And then here's the other thing. I have people whenever I post on X my thoughts, feelings, and emotions on 90 Day Fiance The Last Resort. I have quite a few people that will reply to my post saying like, "Oh, you know that show's so fake and it's like they just go there for a paycheck, blah blah blah." And that has me feeling two different ways. One way, it's like, "Dude, be real. Don't fool me. Now, Biff, don't con me." And then the other part is, you know what? That's fine because most people can kind of look at those types of shows and be like, "Oh, they're just trash shows, blah blah blah." But since I started watching Married at First Sight years ago, which then led to me finding about 90 Day Fiance, which then led me to find before the 90 days and then The Last Resort. And during that trash TV journey, I have discovered so effing much about myself, other people. It's helped me in my relationship. There's times where I'll like see a couple and they're going through like some like similar types of like friction or issues that I've had, or there's something I can relate to. And then let's say that one of the people that whether it's the guy or girl, I'm really relating to how they're in their feelings and feel like they need this, and that, and the other, maybe to feel justified or whatever the case may be. And then like the therapist or something like that will break it down, like, this isn't right, like blah blah blah, and then their partner will share their feelings and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I totally do that to Metal Jesus. And then there's been times where I've had to apologize to Metal Jesus and be like, dude, I didn't realize this about myself and it is not cool or fair that I've done X, Y, and Z to you. I'm so sorry. And you know how much of an asshole I felt those times I had to tell him sorry because I literally didn't realize how toxic I was being, you know? So that's what these shows have helped me with. Things like that, dude. So, yeah, on the surface, they can be trash TV. But if you really just look at it like an experiment and you're watching it go down, because I feel I got more invested in these franchises the older I got because I experienced different types of people like that throughout life, and maybe when I was younger, I hadn't experienced people like that before. So it was just like foreign to me or not even a thought. But then life went on, and then I met a person like that person on the show, or I met a person over here. Or I worked with someone like that's like that person. And whether they're faking situations or not, there's moments you could tell that are certainly real. And especially when it's been maybe that person in that time is representing somebody I do not like, maybe someone that's totally screwed me over or has hurt me or whatever. It's helped me understand those people and be able to forgive them and let go of that negativity. So I'm telling you, I am about those shows all day long, but that's what that note was about. I'm going to get into it more because I have a lot more to say about that whole franchise and I want to do a whole video on it. So I'll just stop at that there. But I think Sophie likes Josh. And I feel like with that word on the street that maybe they have hooked up, I could totally see that and believe it. Okay, next one. Oh boy. Sometimes I want to post pics of me with people I used to be friends with, tag them, and say, remember when you used to give me the time of day? Then I realized God deleted their ass out of my life for a reason. So never mind. That's literally me typing my thought in that moment. Here's the thing. There's people on social media who follow me who I know personally. I've stayed at their place or they've stayed at mine or both like that. Dude, they don't give me the time of day. And sometimes I'll end up unfollowing people because I'm like, I just, me and my pink feelings, I just can't handle it anymore because I want to say something, but I know it's going to embarrass them. And I'm not out here trying to embarrass people. I'm not in the business of hurting people, but it puts me in a weird position because I just want to be like, dude, remember when you used to give me the time of day? Hi, here's proof. Here's my receipt. And I remember when I wrote that, it was because there's this promoter that I knew at the beginning of my wrestling career, and I ended up working for on and off throughout my wrestling career. And he was always really weird to me, and I never understood why. I did nothing but show up, do a good job. At one point, I wasn't even charging them for me to be a part of the show because you know what I was trying to do? I was trying to pay the business forward, brother, sister. That's what you do. So sometimes, and I was looking through old stuff and I saw a photo of us at this party for New Year's Eve years ago. And I wanted to post it and tag him and be like, remember when you used to give me the time of day? Like, but I know it's just not going to do anybody any good. But then it's like, why do I have to not say anything and have my feelings hurt when I get reminded by these people? Like, the worst is if I'm not following them anymore, like this person, and somebody else had tagged them and tweeted or X post. What is it? Xing made a post on X, and there was a picture with the both of them, and I was just like. So that's the worst. Some people can say, just follow them, mute them, block them. For some reason, it'll always get through because a lot of the people who really hurt my feelings are people at some point I worked with. So that means that they have some sort of name, whether it's in acting, modeling, or wrestling. And I'm just like, anyways. All right. And then the You're So Vain song. Okay. This one comes from when I am in the house and I have my music on. I have Music Choice, which is the cable channel music. And when I have on, is it the 70s channel? I think it's the 70s channel. That song, You're So Vain, comes on. And it makes me so mad because let's look at the words up so I don't mess it up totally. Hold on, put it up on the computer so I can see it bigger. All right, it's just better to do it on my phone. Okay, so Carly Simon, of course, 1972. Son of a gun, you walk into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf, it was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself gallivant. Govate. Watch yourself govat. What is that? I said gallivant. And all the girls dream that you'd be your partner, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? You had me several years ago when I was still quite naive. Well, you said that we made such a pretty pair and that you would never leave, but you gave away the things you loved and one of them was me. I have some dreams that were clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. You probably think the song is about you. You're so vain. You're so vain. I bet you think the song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? I had some dreams. They were clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. And goes into that again. So it just keeps going. And it's like, dude, isn't the song about him? You talk about when you first saw him in detail, girl, what he was wearing, the tip of the hat, the color. Then you talk about how you went and hooked up with him. You saw how he was, that he was vain, and you still struck up a relationship with him. One-sided relationship, albeit, because you knew from the beginning the deal, because he's vain, and you saw it the first day that you met him and how he treated women. You fell under the spell too. So you're using your ego, and your ego got you in trouble, got your feelings hurt. You're all in your emotions. I get it. We've all been there. But then you're like being a hypocrite. You're so vain. I bet you think the song's about you. Well, who's it about if it's not about the person you're talking about? The vain dude? So which one is it? Or am I missing something here? Do I not know something? Is there like, am I not getting it? I don't know. So the song really pisses me off. Oh, you're so vain. You probably think this song's about you, don't you? Don't you? Don't you? Ego much? Gets on my effing nerves. I can't. Carly Simon, have several seats. Is she still alive? Have several seats. I don't like that song. You are a hypocrite. And unless someone explains to me why it makes sense, that's what I think of your song. All right, up next, let's see. These are the things that I think about. These are the days of my life. The Snow White movie. Here's the thing. The reason why I just put the Snow White movie is I had no idea that there was a Snow White movie to be coming out. So when I saw some commercials for it, I was like, what? There's a Snow White movie. I hope they didn't F it up. Probably did. But it's especially close to my heart because when I was a little girl and I had my record player, I had this, I still have it to this day, the freaking album. It's the Snow White album. And it's just like the story from beginning to end and the music, the songs, whatever. So that piece of hair. So that was my beginning stages with that. And I really related to the Snow White character. I understood her. I was her. And then when I got older, growing up here in SoCal, I had a Disney pass all the time. And when I got older, and then it was super easy to have a SoCal pass because it was really affordable. So when I was like about 18 on up, I started just getting myself a pass because when I was younger, yeah, we would go to Disneyland here and there, but it was always like kind of an expensive thing. And I didn't grow up with money. So it was a real treat to go to Disneyland. So I think I really try to make up for it in my young adult life, like as soon as I turned 18 and throughout my 20s, I was really trying because that's when I was finally independent. I had my own car. I wasn't on lockdown at my mom's house anymore. So I was out seeing the world. And part of that was being a annual passport holder at Disneyland. So what I would do, it was my whole little ritual. Every time I go to Disneyland, which was a lot, many times during the month, I would always go over to Snow White's wishing well and I would have pennies and I would throw them in there, be like, I wish to be a WWF wrestler. I wish to be a WWF wrestler. I wish to be a WWF wrestler. That's all I would do. If I saw a shooting star, boom, I want to be a wrestler. So there is another how it's special to me. Then there's a creepy element to it. When I was a young gal and my sister was really little, I swear to God, you guys, you could think I'm crazy. We had a possessed Snow White doll. It was this little figurine. And when it started like being creepy, like always showing up in weird places, we started throwing it away and we put it in the dumpster and then it would just end up back in the house. It was so creepy. So then there's that element of Snow White, how there's many elements of Snow White, what she means to me, what the franchise means to me, what it meant to me as far as like, oh, I'm at Disneyland, I got a wish in the wishing well, the whole fantasy of it all. So that's why they better not have messed up in that movie. Has anyone seen it? Let me know in the comments. All right, up next. If we become a cashless society, how will the strippers get tipped? QR codes on their heels? What if dudes are shady and they fake tip? Dude, this isn't good. I can't remember why. I think I was like in a tinfoil hat conversation about cashless society and like how it's really going there. In a lot of ways, it's kind of there. And then that's when I thought to myself, well, I was thinking back on that conversation I had. I was working out, and that's when I had that thought. I was like, dude, if they get rid of cash, how will strippers get tipped? And like I said, if you put a QR code on like their boot or their stripper shoe, dudes could be like, boop, there, I did it. And then that's like a whole thing. Like, okay, okay, here it is. Okay. Like, how is it going to work for the girls out, those hard working gals out there just trying to make their money, honey? If you know the answer to that, there's something already going on and I don't know, let me know in the comments below because I have no idea. All right. Next, we have Bridget's marriage and how I relate. And it had the name of a guy. Going back to Bridget from the Girls Next Door, one of the things that she talks about openly is how for a good amount of the time she was at the Playboy Mansion, she was actually married, but it was only legally. And I really related to her because, long story short, at the end of the day, her and the guy she married just couldn't be bothered to like file the papers officially for many years, like after they like decided to already split and everything like that. I'm not sure if it's one of those things where maybe he thought she'd come back or something. It could be, who knows. But she definitely has talked about how it was just like not even a thought. And some people can be like, how could that be? Well, I accidentally got married once and I knew the dude for 2 months. We got married in Vegas. Elvis walked me down the aisle singing, "Love me tender, love me true." It was a whole thing. And I knew as soon as Elvis was walking me down that aisle, because nobody was at our wedding, we eloped. And I saw the dude that was walking towards him in a black dress. I was like, this is wrong. I should not be doing this, but I don't want to hurt his feelings. So I literally went along with it because I didn't want to hurt the dude's feelings. Long story longer, we were together for about 6 months, decided to split because I hate admitting this, but I cheated on him when I moved to Louisville. And we decided we were going to get a divorce, but we literally didn't get a divorce till like 12 years later. So when Bridget was like, and then it's funny because when I was on the road with WWE, Francine used to tell me, what if you make it big? Like, you need to protect your money. You need to get a divorce from this dude. And it was one of those things where I was legal. Remember LegalZoom? I'm sure it's still around. So I was just using LegalZoom. So I kept doing the papers wrong, or he'd fill them out wrong, and like they kept getting sent back. So what ended up happening is when I moved back to California, um, I would say, let's see, about 3 or 4 years after being here in California, back in California from living in Kentucky, I knew that I needed to get a divorce. And what I really knew I needed to get the divorce handled was when I got serious with Metal Jesus. I was like, this is like my dream guy. I am not going to mess this up because I'm like legally married to this dude who I don't even know what he does for a living. I don't know anything about him except that I hear from him every now and then. So what I had to do was I had to go to classes because at the time I had like no money, and I would take these classes in downtown LA. No, I'm sorry. I started doing the classes before meeting Metal Jesus. Okay. So right before meeting him, I was taking those classes because I just wanted to get the divorce over with. And it sucked because the people that were in those classes with me, man, one dude was trying to hit on me. I'm like, oh my God, we're trying to get divorces and you're over here. I didn't have a car at the time, so I'd take public transportation over there. And that was a whole thing. It can get unsafe, need I say more? And I thought I had everything in order, and then it was just one of those things I had to keep going back because I would mess up one little thing, and you had to keep going back. And then that's when I ended up meeting Metal Jesus, and then it was just at least the class part was over, and I just had to keep going back for the little mistakes that I kept making or whatever. And then I finally got the damn divorce. And so it took me 12 years. And I was literally with the guy, married 6 months, knew him for 2 months. So 6, 7, 8 months altogether. And it sucks because I know everything happens for a reason and it's fine. But I married him because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Like come on, Shelly. Are you serious right now? And then I go and cheat on him with a dude I didn't even like. How about that? I thought this dude was like gross. He would like pick his nose and like, I was like, he's like a membo. And then he just kept at me, kept at me, kept at me. And I can't even tell you, like, I'm trying to think right now what like did it. I just remember one day we crossed the line and we weren't just friends anymore. And that's why I'm like super opinionated about cheating, because I've been cheated on. I've cheated on people. I've been the person that people cheated on me or cheated on their person with without knowing it and with knowing it. I've been all realms. And my conclusion is cheating is just the coward's way. Come on. Especially when you're putting people's health at risk. Like, it's gross. So if not for nothing, it's gross. So it's a really douchey moment in time in my life. And it sucks. I still feel guilty about it. But, a long time ago, I would say a couple years after I was back in California, so before meeting Metal Jesus and everything, I wrote the dude a long letter, just totally owning up to everything. It didn't feel good because you have to admit it to yourself while you're writing it. Like, no one wants to admit that they were being a piece of shit, but I was, and he deserved that, And it was really cool because he sent me a positive reply. He didn't have to. And yeah, dude. So I'm going to do a more in-depth video on that one as well. But that's why it had on there Bridget and then that dude's name. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's see what's in Shelly's phone notes episode. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. So keep your notifications on. Just pay attention. I'm not sure which day yet, but I'll definitely have a new episode for you next week. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. If you would like extra bonus content or see the video version, go to patreon.com/vampire radio. Or that's what, if you go my secret society, if you join my secret society, you get access to the Vampire Radio Patreon for free for as long as you're a member. So if you rather have exclusive content and access to the Vampire Radio VIP, that's the best way to do it. And you can find all the links that'll take you right where you want to be on shellymartinez.net/links. All right. Until next time, I'm your amiga, Shelly from Cali. She's the podcast dog, Minnie the Moocher. And we'll be smelling you guys later. Adios. Vampire Radio. Hurry back, and remember to bring your death certificates. Hurry back.
You a little bit nervous today?
Feel great.